Welcome back into Plead Your Case. This is episode 18. I'll be your host for today, Seth Adams, and today we're discussing all things basketball and starting off with March Madness. Everyone's filling out their brackets. Everyone's trying to get the perfect bracket. Will it happen? Who knows? Next, we got up our 5 in 5. It'll be Michael McKenzie versus Luka Andrusic. That'll be a fun one. And then wrapping it up with NBA and finishing up the season, talking about playoffs and the whole season in general. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Plead Your Case.
Hey there, sports fans. You're watching another episode of Waynesburg University Community Television's only national sports debate show, Plead Your Case. Whether you're a diehard fan or a casual observer, get ready to join us every week as we dive deep into current pressing sports topics. Our panelists dissect every angle, every scenario, and every statistic to influence their fiery takes.
What has he done without Tom Brady?
And spirited arguments.
No, listen, Bowtie. Have you ever played Foursquare? No, you were too old to play Foursquare.
There will be no argument unexplored, and every take will be under review.
After reviewing the play...
Here in the Waynesburg University Communication Department, we believe in heated debates with a touch of friendly competition, which is why we also have a fresh 5 in 5 mini segment that you won't want to miss.
I don't think a pitcher is breaking Cy Young's wins record of 511.
You Google America's team, and what do you get? You get the...
So sit back, relax, and get ready for some serious sports chat. It is time to plead your case.
Back to Plead Your Case. We're starting this episode off with some March Madness talk. The month of March, it's a wonderful month full of wonderful college basketball. And join with me, I have Dean Shazer and Ron Brown to discuss March Madness. Now, guys, first thing I want to talk about, the real tournament doesn't start until March 20th. We still have a couple of play-in games before we get into that. Now, it's been a little bit of a controversy, these teams that were selected to play in these play-in games. Tonight, the teams that play is Alabama State versus St. Francis, UNC versus San Diego State, and then tomorrow, Mount St. Mary versus American, and Xavier versus Texas. Now, do you guys think that these are the the teams that should be in the play-in games? Or do you think it should have been someone else?
Well, these were the teams that were picked. So, I mean, you can't dispute against the teams that are picked. So, I mean, those are the teams that they picked, so you have to live with that.
Do you agree with it?
I mean, yeah, I agree with it. That's the ones they picked.
Dean?
Well, the West Virginia state governor actually filed a lawsuit against the NCAA just because West Virginia honestly deserved to be over the University of North Carolina. University of North Carolina had a quad 3 loss, which is atrocious when you're in quad 1 basketball. West Virginia had multiple quad 1 wins, didn't lose to a quad 3 team. So the West Virginia governor is actually filing a lawsuit against the NCAA because
I don't like
one of the higher ups, I believe his name is Bubba Cunningham.
I don't like that because it should be
UNC
you didn't make it,
director.
Just move on. You didn't make it, move on. Don't, basically be crybabies about it and try to sue the NCAA about it. Just move on. You didn't make the tournament, and that's that.
Yeah,
You agree with that?
But when the dude at the top of the game is associated with the University of North Carolina, and they were the last team in over the last team out in West Virginia, it's got
to be honest,
but
frankly,
it is what it is. Like you said, it's a tournament, so let's talk about the tournament.
Yeah, frankly, to be honest, I don't think North Carolina is very good either.
Well, they're going to win tonight because San Diego State is atrocious.
Yeah,
so we can
North Carolina is not very good at all.
All right.
Well, they're also going to beat Ole Miss.
Let's get into the tournament talk now, like Dean mentioned earlier. We're getting into it. First round coming up this Thursday. Any upsets you guys are kind of eyeing up? There's always one. Someone out there always blows a game, just completely flops. What game do you think it's going to be for the first round?
I think Yale is going to win the first game because every year I always pick an Ivy League team to win their first game, and I was right the last 2 years. Because these Ivy League teams usually are pretty good. They're underrated because they have a bunch of older guys, juniors and seniors. They play very fundamentally sound basketball. They hustle, they play hard, they play defense, And like I said, they play very technically, fundamentally sound basketball.
What team isn't it going to be? It's UC San Diego, the 12 seed. I love 30-4. UC San Diego, they are here, let's read some stats. 50 steals per game in the country, third in assist to turnover ratio in the country. fifth in turnover margin in a game in the country, and they score the fifth most points in the country.
Who have they
margin-wise.
played?
They're 30-4. They won their conference.
Who-
they don't have
who
to play.
name somebody
they
they
don't have to
played?
play anybody.
Who they play?
Why Michigan?
Because Michigan's, I think, the better team.
Michigan needs to hit threes.
I'm
to
not.
win.
I hate Michigan. I hate
he would
Michigan.
take
but
Jones.
I'm not. But
averaging
I'm not.
19 and a half points, putting up over 5 rebounds per game. Their big man at 7 feet tall draws some of the most fouls. Draws 8 fouls per 40 minutes in the country,
But
and
I'm
that's
just
what you
asking
need
you,
in that
they-
NBA
you're telling
tournament.
me that
But
they-
let's move on. I'm
You're
not focused about
yeah,
one
but
team.
you're telling me
in
that
Michigan.
they won their conference.
It's a
but who
it's
have
one.
they
I didn't
played?
get on you for saying Yale. Just stop. Just stop where you're headed.
Yes. I'm just asking who they played. That's all. But
I did
go,
not.
Go
I did
on.
not.
sir.
Okay.
Go on.
Why this doesn't need to be a rebuttal?
This kind of
Who did Yale play?
This kind of
Who did
relates.
Yale
They
play
played
in the Ivy
Harvard.
League?
They played Harvard.
Oh, Harvard.
And
Where are they in the
Princeton.
bracket?
And Princeton's usually
Where's
pretty
Brown?
solid. Brown. When's the last time Brown even made this?
Princeton.
All
Where's
right.
Princeton?
Princeton
All right,
was
all
just
right,
in
all
the
right,
There's
all
no
right,
other
let's
Ivy
go.
Leagues.
They were 15 seed and made
Let's-
this
let's-
first
no other-
16 2 years
into-
ago.
There's no other
Gentlemen,
Ivy
gentlemen.
League teams
Gentlemen, let's get into
in the tournament, though.
Dean,
And how are you going to say they
let's-
played Harvard?
Dean, let's get into sleepers, right? Kind of in the same realm. Someone who you think is kind of underrated. I know you mentioned Yale,
UC San Diego.
so it's kind of is that kind of who you're going with? The one who
Also,
you think-
Louisville is going to beat Auburn in the second round. You could
I
bank
don't
your
know.
buck on that. 9 to
'Cause
10.
Creighton is pretty solid. Creighton is solid.
Louisville, 9 out of 10 last games. They won. Their only
are
loss was
getting hot right now.
to Duke,
They're-
and Duke shot 14 more free throws that game.
They're hot right
Duke's
now.
the best team in the country, hands down. But I don't know if they're going to win
Well,
it.
that's who
think
I got as
they're
my
forward.
champion if Cooper Flag plays.
Let's get to the
if Cooper
regions.
Flag plays. But my sleeper right now, and I don't know if you can really call them a sleeper because I think people are still kind of sleeping on, even though they're 2 seed, is St. John's. That's who I have coming out the bottom is St. John's because Rick Pitino has reinvented St. John's basketball. He's brought them back. They're 30-4, and they actually, they play in a solid conference. Unlike UC.
Who is this?
St. John's.
St. John's, yeah, but there's the 2 seed.
That
So
I'm saying,
anyway,
but
also
I think
UC
people are
San
still
Diego, another cool fact.
underestimating them.
Another
People are
cool
still
fact.
underestimating them.
It's the first school to have both the men's and women's basketball teams qualify for the NCAA tournament in their first year of eligibility. So stories like that, that's what March Madness is about. That's what March Madness is about.
Yes.
It's about the
We
Cinderella
live
story.
for
And this
one
is what
shining
teams live for.
moment.
Exactly.
We live
and
for
this is
one
going to be
shining
UC San
moment.
Diego. They might even go on to beat Michigan State after they play Louisville.
All right, let's get into
Louisville.
now our final four. Who are you guys' final four? And we'll go after the final four. We'll go into your championship and who's going to win the whole thing. So, Dean, you want to start us off? Who's your final four?
First, you got to look in Michigan State's region. That's with Auburn. Where are the regions labeled on this bracket? Anyway, top left region of your bracket is going to be Michigan State. They're the best all-around team, even though they didn't get it done in the semifinals to Wisconsin. Wisconsin also probably the best 3 seed in the tournament, in my opinion. And Michigan State in the top left bracket.
I'm going to take Auburn. Auburn's the best team in that bracket, I think, because, we saw Michigan State. I expected them to beat Wisconsin, but they did not. I think Auburn is the best team. They have a couple losses, but I think Auburn has, in the last few years, has made a comeback since probably the days of Charles Barkley. I think Auburn's the best team, though, coming out the top bracket, and I think they'll run past whoever that 16 seed is. I think Louisville or Creighton. I think they'll beat Louisville. I don't think it'll be easy, but I think they'll beat Louisville, and then I think they'll just move on. They'll keep moving, keep rolling, like the Temptations.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go bottom left. I know he said St. John's. It's going to be the University of Florida. I mean, clear cut, they've been one of the top 4 teams in college basketball all year, obviously. They can shoot the ball. They have big men. They can work posts. They get fouled. They play defense. Florida's a good team, best team in that region. Watch out for Texas Tech, though. I believe they're going to make some noise. No easy game there.
Like I said before, I think I'm going to go with St. John's out that bracket because, like I said, Rick Pitino has reinvented them
Love Rick
and
Pitino.
made St. John's good again. And Big East basketball is still that rugged basketball. They're my favorite conference to watch out of any of the conferences. They're so rugged. They got all those guys from New York, Philly, DC, these inner city guys that play hard, coming off, like street ball style. These guys are all rugged, and I think they could rough up Florida a little bit.
Dean, top right.
We'll go. Duke is the best team in college basketball. Cooper Flagg, they won the tournament anyway, the ACC tournament. Doesn't matter. He's coming back for the tournament. He probably won't need to play against either American or Mount St. Mary's. But if he's healthy, I doubt he's sitting out. It's his first year of eligibility in the tournament because he's a freshman.
It's going to be his only year.
Yeah, you think he's going to the
he's
draft?
Gonna be
That's
the
what I was
first
going to
pick.
ask.
So, that's
With
not...
NIL, though, with NIL,
No.
and you don't win this
I
year
don't
with
wanna
Duke.
hear it. There's no
If I'm
financial
Cooper Flagg-
security with NIL. You have financial security with NBA contract.
It's a lot more. But if you want that
Anyways.
college experience,
Anyways,
that
I think
college everything,
Duke-
I'd stay.
So you got top right for who's your top right? You got Duke
I
as
think
well.
everybody's picking Duke.
Okay.
But it could make a difference.
Wisconsin's going to be Bama.
Yeah, I think so too.
And then bottom right, who do you got for bottom right?
I got Houston.
Houston.
Tennessee and Clemson in the Elite Eight. It's going to be, I don't know. I haven't really made that decision yet. Clemson is my sleeper 5 seed. I know everyone hates the 12-5 matchups, but I've loved watching Clemson all year. They can move the ball around. They can shoot the ball well. This is just
A team that
Houston. This is the best team I think they've had, though.
don't sleep.
They
thought
can't
wrong
get
in
it
their
done.
championship.
Houston chokes
Yeah.
always, and they
Yeah,
always have
don't
the same
sleep.
style team.
Don't sleep
Can't
on
score
that Texas Xavier game in that 11 seed because Texas is always tough.
Texas,
So,
I have
yeah.
Texas.
And I love Xavier.
I had Texas beating Kentucky
Big East
after
team.
Texas beats Xavier. So
I think but don't sleep on Xavier, man. They, like I said, the Big East teams.
they're favored.
Yeah.
Xavier's favored.
Yeah,
so.
the Big East teams is rugged.
So who you got winning it all, Dean?
Duke.
I think I'll go with Duke. Just dependent on if Cooper Flagg is Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, fair enough. I think Duke is
The
a
culture's
pretty,
there,
pretty
too.
high runner-up in the March Madness bracket, but that's going to do it for our March Madness talk. Don't go anywhere. 5-5. Luke Andrusic, Mike McKenzie coming up.
It's a Saturday night. You know what that means. Time to party. Sam is having a good time, watching sports, drinking beer, playing Pong. Not a care in the world for Sam. Nobody at the party stopped Sam. They let him walk out the door with his keys, even though he was stumbling, having a hard time to stand up. What happened less than 10 minutes later would change Sam's life forever.
Welcome back to Plead Your Case, and for this episode's 5 in 5, I'm still your host, Seth Adams, and today joined with me, I have the winner of last week, Michael McKenzie, who beat Cole Keller last week, and over on the other side of the desk, Luke Andrusic here to take Michael McKenzie's crown. Now, gentlemen, this is a mini segment, 30 seconds to answer the questions. In my favor, I get to pick the winner. Are you guys ready?
Always.
Alrighty, Luke, we're going to start with you first since you're the visitor. First question, will someone ever have a perfect March Madness bracket? Go.
The simple answer is absolutely not. The odds to make a perfect bracket are 1 in 9.2 quintillion. Here are some things you have a better chance at having happen. So you have a better chance to win the Powerball. You have a better chance to get struck by lightning twice. You have a better chance to even have sextuplets. And you have a better chance to go down in a plane crash. If you have any basketball knowledge, it says you can go to, or the odds go to 1 in 120 billion, which if you fall,
Done. Mike, go.
I'm gonna say yes. I know it's over 1 in 9 quintillion, but you got to factor in that there are some matchups that are basically gimmies, especially in the first round, sometimes in the second round. So the odds dwindle down a little bit. I would say it's even less than 1 in over 120 billion, whatever Luke said, that you try to bring it down a little bit. But I think the odds are a little bit less than that. Lightning strikes twice. People win the Powerball. It happens sometimes. And I think this year in particular, very top-heavy season.
Time.
Bracket could be chalky.
Write down my answer here.
Next question, sticking with March Madness here. Who will win it all this year? Mike, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go with the Florida Gators. I've been on Florida since the beginning of January. This team is so deep. They're really well-rounded, built through the transfer portal. A lot of mid-major teams start off with Walter Clayton from Iona running the point. He's really matured this season, become more of a point guard, but he knows when he's got to go score the basketball. Exceptional three-point shooter, guys like Elijah Martin, Walter Condon, Micah Handlockton, Hogg. They got so many guys on this team. They can go 4 deep on their bench and have starting caliber players on other top seeds in this tournament. They're playing as well as anybody in the country right now. They've been the best team in the country since February.
Right on time. Good job, Mike. 30 seconds on the nose. Luke, who you got, my friend?
I'm also going to go with the Florida Gators. They are
let's
number
hear it.
1 in offensive rating and number 10 in defensive rating according to the Ken Palm rankings, which both line up to be the national champion. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games with wins over Alabama twice. They're a 2 seed. Tennessee once. They're a 2 seed. Missouri, they're a 6 seed. Texas A&M, they're a 4 seed. And Ole Miss, they're a 6 seed. As you said, Walter Clayton Jr. has averaged 17.5 points per game. And I think guard play and experience in the tournament is really what gets people going.
Okay. Now, these guys right here, big Ohio State guys, all right? So we catered this question just for them. Who is the greatest Ohio State basketball player ever? Luke, you'll start.
I'm going to go with the Hall of Famer, 8-time NBA champion, John Havlicek of the Boston Celtics. He's a 13-time All-Star. He's a Hall of Famer, 8-time NBA champion, as I said, 11-time All-NBA team member. And with the Buckeyes, he won their one and only NCAA title in 1960 as a freshman, averaging 14.5 points, 8.5 rebounds, and shooting 51% from the field. He's a Hall of Famer. He's the best basketball player from Ohio State ever.
Mike?
I'm going with one of his teammates, in Jerry Lucas. At his time at Ohio State, averaged 24 points and 17 boards. He was also on that national championship team. He only lost 2 career games in his 3 seasons at college in conference play. Never lost more than 5 games in a season as a collegiate player. At Ohio State, he's their best player ever. His name and his jersey's hanging in the rafters there. And then in the NBA, averaged over 17 points and over 15 rebounds a game, is in the National Basketball Hall of Fame. He did it in both the NBA, and he was the best ever at Ohio State in his time with the Buckeyes. That's why I'm going Jerry Lucas.
All right. Write down that one there. Okay. Next question. We're going to the MLB on this one. Do the Dodgers have the best roster ever assembled going into opening day? Mike, we'll start with you. Go.
I think compared to all the teams in baseball history, they have to. The payroll has absolutely bought them one of the best rosters ever. You got Shohei, Mookie, Freddie Freeman, Teoscar Hernandez, so many bats in that lineup. And their starting rotation has 5 guys that could be number 1 starters on at least, I think, 5 other MLB teams. They've got a really good bullpen as well. Compared to the rest of the league, you could argue that one of those Yankees rosters from the early 20s and early 30s was better compared to the rest of the field, but comparing this Dodgers roster to the rest of MLB history, I don't think there's anybody that compares to it.
Cut.
I'm going to have to agree. I said 100% yes. Their starting rotation is absolutely insane. They have 7 guys who could fit into their 5-guy rotation. That's Yamamoto, Ohtani, Snell, who is a 2-time Cy Young winner, won it in 2023, Tyler Glasnow, who's an All-Star last year, Roki Sasaki from Japan, Tony Gonsolin, and of course, Clayton Kershaw, one of the best pitchers of all time. In the lineup, they have 3 top 15 hitters in the league, Betts, Freeman, and Ohtani, along with guys like Teoscar Hernandez, who hit 30 home runs and almost 100 RBIs. And the rest.
Last question, gents. Steeler fan, too, here, so choose wisely. If the Steelers do not join forces with Rodgers, what would your plan be with the quarterback situation?
I would carry 3 guys on the roster, 3 quarterbacks on the roster for the Steelers next year. I would start Mason Rudolph, who they already have signed. I would bring back Russell Wilson because I think other than Aaron Rodgers, he is the best option left in free agency. He's a Hall of Famer, he's a Super Bowl champion, and he played decent for the Steelers last year. And I would draft a guy in the 3rd round, whether that's Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe, Tyler Schuff, or Will Howard, guys who have a high upside and are low risk, taking them in the 3rd round. Maybe develop them.
Mike?
I think I wouldn't even join forces with Aaron Rodgers. Let me start off with that. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I don't like that option for the Steelers. Too much money for a guy who's 41 and is a year and a half removed from an Achilles injury that clearly hampered his ability. But I would just start Mason Rudolph. Ride with Mason Rudolph. He's been in the building. He knows the culture. If you lose with him, you lose with him, and then next year you can draft a quarterback when the draft is in your own city. I wouldn't bring back Russell Wilson. There's already a little bit of hot water there. They obviously don't want to bring back Russell Wilson. He's their third option. Does he even really want to come back? And without a second-round pick, I don't think you can waste a pick in the third round.
Jeez, guys, you made this really hard.
By the way, I just want to make sure I heard you right while he decides. Did you say bring back Russell Wilson and still start Mason Rudolph?
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Do you want to have a rookie you're going to draft?
That just makes no. I don't. No,
Who would
I
your
don't
backup
want,
be though?
I would honestly roll with Skylar Thompson.
That's insane.
They screwed up. They
All
screwed
right,
up
they'll
this
never
quarterback.
lose.
spot.
Never go
All
and
right,
lose on
final
purpose.
decision.
You're right. They wouldn't.
Final decision. I'll go through each one and see who won which one. So the first one, who will ever have a perfect bracket? I went with Mike on this one. I liked his argument. Lightning
'cause
does get struck twice. The Powerball does
Yeah,
get
but
hit.
it's a way better chance. Like the chance to do it.
Talk to
make
me on
perfect
April 7th
brackets
when
is
I've
way
got the
worse.
perfect
All right,
bracket.
next one. Who
I'm
will
getting
win
it.
it all this year? I went with Luke on this one. I felt he had some better numbers on the whole Gator situation. Next, the two Ohio State guys on the panel, greatest basketball player. I also went with Luke on that one. And then do the Dodgers have the best opening day roster? I went with Mike on that one. So you guys are tied at 2 apiece. And then to wrap it up, at the bottom, Steelers join forces. Who are you going to take? Taking Mike in this one. You gave a great argument, Luke.
yeah.
That was you both gave the answer that I wanted to hear about Mason Rudolph. I just kind of liked his example and how much he hated Aaron Rodgers a lot.
Yes. No.
I
Say no to
despise
Aaron Rodgers.
Well, that's going to do it for our 5 and 5. Mike wins this one, so he'll be back again next time we play. But don't go anywhere. We're talking about the NBA right here on Plead Your Case. Welcome back into Plead Your Case. For this segment, we're talking about the NBA. It's been getting pretty exciting. One more month left to go until the playoffs begin in around April 18th, around that area. Cavs are at the top of the East. They're 56-11. They've already clinched the division and a playoff spot. Celtics are right behind the other team who clinched the playoff spot, and the Thunder clinched the other division with a 56-12 spot. And there's some interesting records and some teams that only have a handful of wins who are still not technically eliminated yet. But guys, what are some of your teams to watch for this last stretch of this playoff run?
Obviously, my Lakers, you know.
Your Lakers, you own them?
Yeah.
You own them?
Yeah, my last name is Buss.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, my Lakers, you know, I ever since we got Luka, you know, things have been changing. I know LeBron just got injured recently, but I think he'll be coming back within the next couple of weeks. So the Lakers are the team to watch. But really, the West is wide open, though. There's so many good teams that I see at the top of that list. But if I had to pick, I'm going with my Lakers.
Dean?
LeBron getting injured always seems like a publicity stunt, especially with this age.
Man
But I'm not-
tore his groin.
yeah, he tore it, but he's back in, what, 3 weeks? If you tore your groin. Anyway. Yeah, the Lakers are a good team. Luka Doncic definitely helps, but he throws the ball away a lot. And you can't have that in the playoffs. Even though he just took the Mavericks to the NBA Finals last year. That's the worst trade in NBA history by far.
Yeah.
But I think the team to
But
watch,
I think
team
Mark
to watch
Cuban,
in the East is the Bucks.
yeah.
Giannis Antetokounmpo quietly averaging 30 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists per game. Damian Lillard right behind him. He's at 25, 5, and 7. Those are his stats. And he shoots 93% from the free throw line, shooting 38% from behind the arc. So if those two get going in the playoffs with the experience both Dame has in clutch time and Giannis has with a ring, this is the team to watch out for in the East. But switching over to the West, it's obviously who should be the lead MVP candidate, Nikola Jokic and his Nuggets. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, top scorer in the league, probably toughest to guard because if you touch him, he's going to the free throw line.
There's a lot of guys that's like that.
Yeah, but
You
when,
can't
when your
just
MVP
say
is
him.
at the free throw line, anyway.
And
Jokic
Karl
averaging.
Malone had like had some of the most free throws of all time and won 2 MVPs. So what does that have to do with?
Different style of play. I mean, I don't know.
What does
I don't-
that have to do? Jordan shot a lot of free
Jokic,
throws.
29, 13, and 10. He's the first player in NBA history to ever have a 30-20-20 game. I mean, that is just ridiculous.
and-
Not even Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
And that's why it's your sleeper team. Jamal Murray, 22, 6 and 4. Michael Porter Jr., 18 per game. And
What's
shoots the
funny
lights out of
about
the
it?
ball.
What's funny about it is people aren't really talking about it as much. Jokic averaging a triple double as a big man, because that's never happened before as a big man. I think Russell
It's a
Westbrook
gig.
kind of killed
Exactly.
the stat of a triple double, and I think now
I don't
it's
think he
starting
did.
to. Because I mean,
How many guys you know are dropping triple doubles?
Russell Westbrook was doing it all the time,
daily
so
basis.
it just made it normal.
How many years ago was that?
He just did it 4 years ago. With the
2021?
Wizards. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, the Wizards. But Russ has the most triple doubles in NBA history. Jokic
Yeah.
right behind him. Oscar Robertson right there. Jokic is going to pass that
Yeah.
soon.
It's more
It-
impressive for a big man to be doing this than
Yeah,
anybody.
for sure.
All right.
because They were
All right.
guards.
But triple doubles still aren't. They're still a big deal. It's just Russell Westbrook. He was a freak, so he just made it look so common.
We talked about teams that were kind of on the watch. What about teams that are maybe watched too much? Someone that you think is up there that really shouldn't be, kind of an overrated team. Who do you guys got in both the East and the West for an overrated team right now?
I think
His Lakers.
what?
Your Lakers.
What?
They're on prime time every night. And I know the Lakers have the widest fan base. but
They just
They
overhyped
got
in-
watchable
in
players.
whole media too. Do you think they're
People want to watch Luka. People want to watch LeBron, even though he's hurt right now. But people want to watch Luka. Luka is arguably a top 5 player in the league right now.
Yeah, probably. But see, that's not the thing. It's they're on every night, Ron. No one knows about the Houston Rockets. One of the youngest rosters.
The Rockets don't have any
They're
star
second in the
power.
East.
But I know, but they don't have any star
You can
power.
say that with the Cavs too.
They
I
have
mean,
Donovan Mitchell.
That's it.
Okay, he's a
For star
watchable
power,
player.
every player in the NBA is a watchable player. They're there for a reason.
I'm
These
talking
guys
about
need to-
star power, like guys that everybody knows, even your grandmother knows.
Everyone understands. My grandmother, no clue who Jokic is or who Luka is.
Me either.
LeBron.
My grandma wouldn't know.
LeBron is like, yeah, he's the face of the league.
Yeah,
still.
so why not put him on every night?
Because these guys need chances, and,
Like,
and that's not even the
The
argument.
Bucks are on a good
They're
amount.
watched too much because what's Shannon Sharp say? Insert the clip. Lakers in 5.
Yeah,
Shut up.
Lakers in 5.
Shut up.
Lakers
Not
in 5.
But it's getting enough. They get way too much publicity, and everyone loves them just because of LeBron
SGA,
and Luka.
PGA, Lakers
Everyone's
in
just
5.
overlooking everyone else just because of the name LeBron and Luka.
SGA,
SGA,
PGA,
work out
PTA, Lakers in 5.
That's cute.
All right,
Anyway,
so
the Warriors also 14 and 2
I
since
hate the
Jimmy
Warriors.
Butler
your
trade.
team is
But
the Lakers.
the Jokic-less, but the Jokic-less Nuggets last night, 114-105 over the Warriors. Now
I hate
they're
the
14 and
Warriors.
3 since the Jimmy Butler
Is that your
trade.
overrated team?
Yeah, I'd say the Warriors, the Clippers, and then in the East, I'd say the Knicks,
How can you say a playing team's overrated?
because they still get talked about a good amount, though. I'd say out the East, the Knicks. The Knicks haven't really, against quality opponents, the Knicks haven't looked very good at all.
Well, the worst thing the Timberwolves ever did was trade away Cat.
Yeah.
And then the Knicks, I mean, he was working out for a good little time, but they've hit a little cold sprout here.
Yeah, I think, because Rudy Gobert's not an offensively good big man. He's nowhere near Cat. And then Julius
Oh, that's
Randle.
effective.
I used to be a big Julius Randle defender, but, it's hard to defend him now because,
Your Lakers product.
Yeah, he was. He was the best player during those dark days.
So you mentioned a player there. What are some other underrated players or players that you think are kind of on the rise, especially at the end of this season, coming up with only a month left?
I like Darius Garland still.
Yeah.
I
He's
like
smooth.
Darius Garland.
Obi Toppin, he's hit some big shots for the Pacers. He's been playing well lately. Just hit a buzzer beater.
A guy you're going to see really start going off in these next couple weeks without LeBron is Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
They say he averages like 27 points a game when LeBron's not there. when he has to be the second option or even sometimes the one option. So I think Austin Reeves, you're going to see him, start blowing up in these next couple weeks.
Take a look at Jalen Green from the Rockets also, but you won't see him on TV not once.
No.
Which is unfortunate.
And do you think a little bit of the media has to deal with some of these teams
It has
that are
everything to
underrated?
deal with it. It has everything
Yes.
to deal with it.
It
We're
depends
controlled
on
by the
also,
media.
like,
Everything's controlled by the media.
It depends on your market as well. Like what team is, where, and the small market team and this and that, how much they're on TV. Because, like a team even like, you're talking about the Lakers, the Knicks are on TV all the time. And
New York.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Makes
You're
sense.
talking about
East
the
Coast.
Lakers being on, the Knicks are on all the time. The Celtics are on all the time.
It's also, the Celtics, everyone wants to watch the defending champions. The Knicks, I mean, it's obvious.
New York.
Yeah, it's annoying. East Coast,
One
but
of the most
you
common.
can't do
Like,
anything about it.
One of the most
Another
popular.
player I was thinking
TV
of,
contracts as a rule, but
a
that's
player-
not the problem.
a player in a team that nobody is talking about that, is actually kind of on the come up is the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit
Cade
Pistons.
Cunningham. Yeah, they
Cade
had
Cunningham,
they had that
he is
8-win
showing why he was the first pick
Yeah.
in the draft
Yeah.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
He's
smooth.
really, he's really showing it. And they was talking about SGA getting all those free throws the other
Ever
night.
since they went over
Yeah.
500, they're 500.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
after that 8-game win streak, they just flattened out. So I don't know if they'll
They
win the
got, they
series.
still got a young team. They have a really young core.
I don't think they'll win a
Young
series.
team. Young teams could do great things, I think. I mean, they've got the
Yeah,
potential
not in
to do
today's league. Not yet.
Okay.
Not right now, but
Okay.
maybe in a few years.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
too young.
Yeah.
Pistons and
Cade
Rockets.
Cunningham's what, 21?
Well, that's going to do it, guys,
Yeah.
for our NBA talk on this episode of Plead Your Case today. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned every week for more content right here on WCTV, and stay tuned every week for our stuff. See you in the next one.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.